Well, I'm glad that that last song was not as rockin' as the first one, because if I had to get up here and give a rockin' lesson, I don't know if I could or not. Um, anyway, this is the third lesson in prosperity, the third week that we've dealt with prosperity. And I think I wanted to entitle my talk, It's Not About the Money. Because I think a lot of people, when they think of prosperity, think of money. To me, that is not at all in any way what prosperity is. Prosperity is having all that you need to live a rich and full life. So I'm interested in the fact that a lot of people think that prosperity is money, because I don't know if you know this. I think a few of you know this, but my birth name was not Scala, it was Money. So how would you like to go through high school with a name like Patsy Money? I got through it with prosperity and found somebody else that had a last name, and I married him, and now I'm Patsy Scala. But anyway, I personally have dealt with having a lot of money, having no money, having just enough money. But through my life, I have always felt prosperous. I have always had a feeling of prosperity. What's happened in my life, never mind how much I like or don't like it, it's always been for my greater good or the greater good of someone else that I love. And this is what prosperity means to me. Having all of that is for our greater good. So this is the third talk in the series of prosperity and the final talk in this series on prosperity. And I want to state again, prosperity is more a feeling than it is a bank account. So I'm going to talk about 4 basic principles that I use to bring prosperity into my life. And actually, I've been talking about this for many, many years. I know that some of you know that I've given workshops all over the country on prosperity in unity churches. So I've always worked with these 4 basic principles. They work to make me prosperous, whether I have money or whether I don't. So the first principle that I want to talk about is, we've heard a lot about this morning, the principle of co-creation, which is our third principle. We co-create with God. If we create our lives this way, we also create our prosperity this way. And it's this principle that I'll be talking about in the workshop that I may do and I may not do. I'm prepared to do it, but nobody signed up for it. So I don't know if it will exist or not, but that's the principle that I'm going to be talking about, the principle of co-creation. So I want to look deeply into that right now. I want you to think back to a time when you really wanted something, anything. You wanted it so much that you could feel it. You pictured yourself having it. You prayed for it. And one day, seemingly out of the blue, you had it. Now, this happened to me. I wanted a house in the country. I wanted a house that reminded me of where I grew up, near the Smoky Mountains in Knoxville, Tennessee. Waterfalls all over, just beautiful woods. And I would go to Laurel Falls, which is one of the waterfalls near Knoxville, and write poetry as a child. Well, I wanted to live there, but I actually lived 3 doors down from the church. So not a lot of forest or anything around here. But my husband and my daughter and I were eating in Cazenovia one night. And we happened to walk by a real estate office. And Laura's my daughter, Laura and I found this amazing Greek revival house that was just beautiful in the window. And we said to Joe, my husband, let's go see that house. Let's just go in there and find out more about this Greek revival house because I really like it. Well, he was an artist, as some of you know. So he went in to the real estate office, and instead of bringing out something about a Greek revival house, he brought out information about a house that had an art studio. So you can imagine I was a little bit annoyed, but we decided we'll go see it anyway. And we drove through to a village I had never heard of, New Woodstock. I mean, who hears of New Woodstock? I had never heard of the village before. And we drove up the driveway of this house, and there were construction vehicles all over the place. And I said, I'm not going in. He said, I am. And he opened his door, and I heard water. And I said, I want to hear where that water's coming from. I walked around to the back of the house, and there was a waterfall and forest. And finally, after looking at the house, I was just standing by the waterfall. He said, aren't you going to come in and look at the house? And I said, no, I'm home. So I have been there for 20 some years now. That's prosperity. You hold in your mind a thought of what you desire. And divine grace works in your favor, and you are led there. The traditionally religious would say that my prayers worked and that God gave me what I wanted. And that's partially true, but I want to stress that I co-created with God because I kept thinking about, I want to live in a place that reminds me of the home I grew up in. I want to live in that kind of place. That is co-creating with God. Our worries work against God. Our positive thoughts work with God and create a reality that works for us. We all know this. We practice it. The second prosperity principle that I want to talk about and that I work with is the principle of attraction. We attract to us what we are, not necessarily what we think we want. So I want to give you an example. Imagine that you're trying to bring something into your life, but you don't really think you're worthy of having it. How many of you have heard of the spiritual teacher, Greg Braden? Okay, a couple of you have. Greg Braden tells a story about going to a friend's house. And all over this friend's house, there were little post-it notes. The woman of my dreams is on her way to me. The woman of my dreams is on her way to me. All over the house, in the bathroom, everywhere, on the mirrors. So Greg Braden tells the story of asking him, his friend, well, has the woman of your life appeared to you? And the friend said, nah, not yet. She probably wouldn't like me anyway. So that is not the law of attraction. You have to believe that you're worthy of attracting what you believe, what you desire. That's prosperity. Dr. David Hawkins, in his book, Power versus Force, states that there are strong attractors, love, peace, joy, which draw good to us. And there are weak attractors, anger, shame, which bring us more of what we don't want. He invites us to understand that we need to use these strong attractors to draw to us. And the weak attractors draw things away from us. If we feel shame, we feel ashamed. And if we feel anger, we feel anger. We don't draw to us. And then there's the principle of giving. I was really impressed with the man who founded Beautiful Mess Ministries, because he talked about the principle of giving. He stood up here and he said, we give from abundance to need. We give from abundance to need. Yes, we give from our abundance to need. We give. When we have abundance, and abundance of anything, we'll gain by giving it away. Maria told us this morning about giving away food. Was she hurt that nobody came to her cooking class? No. Well, maybe a little bit. But what did she do with the food? She gave it to need. She gave it from an abundance to a need. So I ask you, look around you. Look around you. Does our church seem more or less abundant than it seemed this time last year? To me, I stand up here and I look out, and I've been doing services for quite a while, a lot of years. There are more people here now than I have seen before in this year. We have beautiful new chairs. We have a newly painted fellowship hall. We have an abundance of excellent speakers. We don't have a minister, but look at what we have. Look at what we have. We are practicing prosperity here, right now, right here. And what are we doing? We are giving away blessing bags. Every Sunday, people can go to the manse next door and pick up blessing bags. These are people in need. Does this have anything to do with our new prosperous look? Yeah. Does this have anything to do with prosperity? Yes, it does. We are giving from a newfound abundance to a need that has been in our community for a long time. And I am proud of us. The next principle that brings us prosperity, in my mind, is the principle of gratitude. The principle of giving addresses how we behave in the world. The principle of gratitude deals with how we react to what we are and to what we receive and to what we already have. We need to be grateful for what we already have in order to get more of what we want. This may well be the most important way that we bring what we desire into our lives. Where there is gratitude for what is, we tend to gain more of what we're grateful for. Don't we? Have you seen it happen in your life? Now, I was going to use the end of my talk to invite people from the congregation, to answer some questions. What do you mean by prosperity? But because of the timing, I'm going to just ask the questions and let you answer them in your hearts. I was all prepared to have you come up and answer them and be part of the service with me, because the more people we have to speak on prosperity, the more prosperous we are, right? But anyway, what I wanted you to think about and speak about, what do you mean by prosperity? Or are you afraid of what you say you want? Do you believe you deserve prosperity, however you define it? Do you believe that prosperity is something that you deserve? I know it is. I'm looking around at your faces and I'm seeing love. I'm seeing grace. There's like this amazing grace that is surrounding everyone here. You do deserve it. You are prosperous. We are prosperous. And those are the 4 rules of prosperity that I talk about. The rule of co-creation, the rule of, I have to go back and look at it, the rule of co-creation, the rule of attraction, the principle of gratitude, and the principle of giving. So, let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath and go to that place inside of you, where there are no thoughts. Rest in this spaciousness for a moment. Turn your thoughts to all that you love, your family, this church, each other. Just take this time to bring into your mind and heart everything that you love. If something you don't like pops into your head, give it love. Let it be grace. Sit with this idea in the silence. Allow your mind to quiet until all that you feel is your presence with God here, right now. As you sit in the sacred silence. And when you feel ready, when you feel complete, bring your attention back to this sacred room. And know that you are prosperity. You not only have prosperity, you are prosperity. I love you, and I thank you, and I'm grateful for every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patsy. Wonderful. Nice reminder. Goes great with optimism, eh? Woo-hoo! So one more thing before we move on. When we were trying to share the prayer box thing, I forgot to mention the phone number. So I'm just mentioning it because we are prosperous and we can use the phone number when we need to. It's 1-816-969-2000. Should you not want to talk to a person, a live body, but you do want to hear an uplifting prayer, there is a choice for that. It's probably 2. I push 2. I don't know. Anyway, moving right along. Maybe not. Okay, now it's time for our sacred offerings. We are reminded that giving and receiving are one and the same. The giver and the receiver are both generously and greatly blessed. We encourage you to visit our website to sign up for electronic giving. at unitysyracuse.org. And in terms of affirmation of abundance, we affirm joyful giving. We affirm the ability to give not only of the money, but of our hearts, of our love, of our generosity, kindness, caring. There are so many ways to give. We affirm our ability through faith to meet every need for ourselves, for each other, and out into our world. And our well-known and well-loved blessing for our offerings. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. You are the source. We are blessed. Amen. Just a little commentary on the side I want to say, and was just watching as we were going around with the trays. I bet that's not what they call them, but anyway. And I did not see any frowns, not a single one. Oh, I gotta give money, ew. None of that. We are blessed. All right, I do want to, again, remind people to come downstairs for fellowship after service, and do check out the Welcome Center and all the opportunities that are available. And now, in a change of our usual format, I invite you to stand, and we're going to do the statement of being. God is all, both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am everyone with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. Now let us go forth with this benediction to our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.